Welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nick Ogden and I'm the Executive General Manager here at MVP. Today we've got something different for you and really excited to introduce, I guess, one of our most interesting clients here at MVP. Today I have Steve with me from Global Geologica. Welcome Steve, and thanks for agreeing to come on our show. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Now, Steve, you're the Executive Chairman of Global Geologica. You're also the founder. It's an incredibly interesting business, but would you mind sharing a little bit about Global Geologica?
Sure. Yeah, we're a geological services company, so we help both private and public companies with the process of discovering minerals or even defining mineral resources. There are many important technical aspects about how you go about the discovery or defining a resource that can be reported publicly. So we have experts that can help companies with that process, and that's essentially it can be anywhere in the world, and we essentially have those skills available here at Global Geologica.
Yeah, and speaking of experts in the field, you're certainly that. I know we've had a lot of discussions off camera about your career, and it's been remarkable to say the least. Some of the projects that you've been on, some of the places around the world that your job's taken you is truly incredible. It must be really interesting to reflect on the past 30 years in this industry. Incredible.
Yeah, that's right. So the past 30 years has been a mixture of a whole different parts of the world, different commodities, and different sizes of business. I mean, the first 10 years, for example, I started with a large company, but the last 20 years or after that was more with junior companies, and that's quite a different environment to be working in. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're quite unique, really, in your industry, where the geology side is one part of your skill set, but you've also got a huge amount of experience on the mining side as well. Could you tell us a little bit about how you kind of connect those two pieces together?
Yeah, that's right. Often geologists tend to go down one career path or another, but I have spent a fair bit of time both on the mining side as well as the exploration side. The exploration side is always more exciting, to be able to make a new discovery and use new technology to find out where the copper or gold or whatever you're exploring for is in the ground. Yeah, but the mining side also has some technical challenges that I find very interesting, and so we do some of the business, which is obviously based on a lot of my experience, is also focused on the mining side.
I think a lot of our audience would be surprised to find that you're here in the Philippines. Do you mind talking us through, why the Philippines? Why did you choose here?
Yeah, so coming out of COVID, there was I was working in the US as well as in Australia and the Philippines. But what I found was in the Philippines, the access to talent was critical. I could get a large pool of people coming out of the universities here for training. So I do a lot of training, and that's part of our organisation is essentially training people up and giving them the skills to then go into take their university skills or technical training into industry. And also, there are a lot of people here who also got great industry experience. Yeah, so we managed to find quite a few people who had been working overseas in Australia and the US, and then they were coming back to the Philippines. And we managed to get that broader team of expertise all in the one place. So there's no doubt access to talent was a key for us key reason why we started up in the Philippines.
Yeah, it's one of the things that is always remarkable to me here in the Philippines. I'm constantly surprised by the level of talent that comes forward. To be honest, at your space in particular, that was something I would, not in a million years did I think that would be something that we'd be looking for here. And it's one of the reasons I love our business and what we do is because we get to engage with the remarkable businesses like yours, and I guess we get to learn a little bit about a really wide variety of businesses, but also talent. You've got a remarkable team here in the Philippines, and it's a very cohesive group that are leveraging different skills. It's quite a cross-functional team as well. So would you mind describing your team here in the Philippines for us?
Yeah, so we try to provide services which cross all the technical needs for that geological expertise that make the discovery to a mineral resource.
Yeah.
There are a lot of skills that are required there. So we have people working with GIS, 3D modelling. There are all the way through to graphic design even, and movie generation for the marketing material. On the technical side, there can be people who are looking at data, information, workflow. So there's a core person we have for each one of those skill sets. Senior person, anywhere from 20 to 30 years industry experience, working in each part of that, including people who actually will go in the field. Not everyone is in the office. As a geological services company, we obviously have people that go in the field as well, both based in the US and also heading overseas, based in the Philippines.
Yeah, amazing. One of the pieces of the puzzle that I see from the outside looking in that often gets missed is the value in that upskilling, and not just in your space, but in lots of spaces and lots of industries around here. But I find the talent here in the Philippines, I think they really respond well to that opportunity to learn, and particularly from somebody like yourself who is an absolute expert in the field. Do you get that sense from your team when you're going through that process? Because a big part of your role is to upskill your team, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I was already doing quite a bit of training before I started the business. So in the Philippines, there was a number of companies that were requesting assistance with the underground mining environment or for some exploration. But I love the teaching process. I've had a lot of work across industry, so I like to bring that knowledge into the next generation coming through. Yeah. But what I found in the Philippines is it's very enjoyable, given the amount of talent and enthusiasm. Yeah. Essentially, we have a training process there, and we've got a large pool of people to choose from. And it's a very enjoyable 2 to 3 week process that gets people introduced, taking their technical training and introducing them to the industry.
Yeah, I often hear you talking to your team about that next stages of people who've gone through that process of learning, and if they've had the great access to your knowledge and the rest of your team more broadly as well. But then taking the next steps in their career practically as well, and actually taking up some amazing career opportunities around the world in the US and Australia. Yeah. But could you talk us through what that process looks like? Because it's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it is unique. I think it's a fairly unique business model that we do have, in that it's not necessarily that easy for many other companies to do it. But what we do is, with our training process, as an introduction, we really get to know the graduates quite well. So we'll start with a pool of maybe up to 40 or 50 people, and that'll come down to maybe 20 that are selected for the training process. After that, the next step is that we'll have some of them working in the office, but some will also potentially go overseas. So we have up to 6 at the moment working for various companies on our behalf in Australia. We'll be sending some into the US. As well as having some local US staff working together, doing all sorts of skills. So whether it be mapping, soil sampling, and upskilling, and getting even a lot of them working in current operating mines, in gold mines in Australia. So it's all great experience for them. And I think without this training, then a lot of those people will be lost to industry. Industry needs a lot more skilled geologists, and I think the Philippines is a great place to source that skill, and also the enthusiasm that they bring into the industry, and we get great feedback from our clients that and they fit in very, very well with the teams almost anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's really well documented. Not just what we do here in the outsourcing industry, but in almost every industry. I think Filipinos have had such a great impact, whether it be nursing or more technical trades and mechanics all around the world. It's always great for me to see Filipinos around the world making an incredible impact. But that ability to learn on site and then actually go that next stage and into practice and have a really great impact for the businesses they're working with is remarkable. It really is.
Yeah, that's right. I think that also there are various times, not all the time, but there are some times when there's a real shortage of quality people in the industry, and we found that after post-COVID, for example. In the US and in Australia in particular, I was before I started the business, I was working on projects in both countries, and a lot of our average workforce was in their 50s and 60s, ready to retire, but the next generation wasn't coming through. And so we found that, again, with the business model, is trying to fill that gap and bring that next generation through. And it's a combination of local experience as well as potentially providing it from the Philippines.
Yeah, that's it. It really is an incredible business, Steven. You know, we've spoken at length, formally and informally, about your business, but could you talk us through a little bit more? You really, if I think about Global Geologica, you're actually really a solutions business, really, aren't you? Like, you're solving problems for your clients. So could you share with us in a bit more detail, you know, the kind of problems that or gaps that you're filling, or the problems that you're solving for your clients?
Yeah, a lot of our clients are smaller companies or mid-sized companies, particularly exploration companies. They don't have cash flow, so they don't know when their funding will come in the future. So what we do is it's very difficult in that circumstance, and I was a managing director of a company. I know that situation very, very well. But in that situation, you can't employ or hang on to large amount of skilled labour because you can't make the commitment, the financial commitment. So what we do to solve that problem is have that high skill base without any need for a long-term commitment. Amazing. So we can have the skills sitting here, or people can go to Australia to fill the skills gap. And it can be for a short time, or it can be for a longer period of time. Often people, they don't want to make the commitment, but the projects will keep growing. And we can really find that solution. So we do make sure we have enough people with the right skills to fill the gap for a number of junior companies. But there's a few bolt-ons that we've done here because we're in the Philippines. We've got a broader range of skills than otherwise we might otherwise have.
Yeah, you get the access to talent once again just gives you that ability to kind of build out that cross-functional team, but then also to be able to solve more problems for your clients as well. It's a real value add, isn't it, on your side?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, great.
That's right.
Great. Now, Steve, I want to talk a bit more about you, if that's okay, because I think about, you know, your career has been remarkable in this space, but you've had some really big wins along the way over that 30 years. Could you share with us some of the kind of big projects that you've been involved with around the world?
Yeah, so I've had the good fortune to be involved with a few discoveries, and I think the most significant one was a project that I've taken through or been involved with right from the start all the way through to what we expect will be construction starting this year. So my time in the junior space was dominated by a company called Rex Minerals. Yep. So I was a founding managing director for that. So we started the company, purchased the ground position, and then we essentially made the discovery in the first 18 months or 2 years of that company. That really was very active for about a 5 or 6 year period. As we discovered up to 2 million tonnes of copper in the ground.
Incredible.
Then the next 5 to 10 years has almost all been about the feasibility studies and the logistics, as well as all the way through to approval to mining.
Amazing.
That's one very important project that's been nice to see from discovery all the way through to what would hopefully be the construction phase very soon.
Yeah, that's it. That's incredible. I know from experience when I was a little kid, I did some panning for gold when I was a little one, and the excitement that I felt just finding the smallest flake of gold is something I'll never forget. But does that sort of translate when you're working on those massive projects, when you get to that point of discovery? Is it a similar feeling? Could you talk us through that?
I think for any geologist, the discovery process is very exciting. Even as a young geologist working for the larger companies, I was involved with another discovery as well. And I found that, just so enjoyable. It was I loved, even late at night when when the information was coming up, I would want to get out to the drill rig and find out whether
great.
we'd actually hit something that was going to be significance, because it's just a great feeling.
As you said, seeing the project from one end to the other is just incredible, and be involved in every stage must bring real satisfaction on your side.
Yeah, it's both technically stimulating, so it's really, you learn a lot in the process, and they're not always easy. So it's nice. I mean, when you go through the various difficulties, you learn a lot during that process. I think that, and that experience, so then I think you can apply elsewhere as well.
Incredible. But we also briefly spoke about some of the additional services that your clients can tap into. Do you mind expanding on that a little bit and just sharing that with us?
Yeah. So what I found was, being in the Philippines, and based on my experience, it's often difficult to take some of the technical information and then make that presentable, whether you need it for announcements, for presentations, and to be able to display that. And in the Philippines, there's some great talent as far as the graphic design work's concerned. There's some good schools that teach the graphic design, not specifically for mining, but actually it's quite more artistic to come from another industry and then help bring that into us trying to explain exploration or geological information. So we added on that skill set. We've actually have a few graphic designers. We actually have a few people who come from a different industry to make movies for us.
Amazing.
And then that really helps to bring to life projects which are really nice to display in 3D. And then animate the key features. So I know, with my experience being a managing director before and as a geology manager, it just makes my life a lot easier if I can represent something very clearly. And it's very time consuming to create that material. So we offer that service as well. Amazing. Having the geology team next to the graphic design team also makes it very efficient.
Yeah, and I think that, once again, what makes your business so unique as well is that cross-functional team working together. But your business is very technical. A lot of the things that you're presenting are, it's very detailed, and the things that you've shared with me, it presents it in a way that a really quick snapshot, even for somebody like me who's a complete novice, I can very quickly get an understanding of what that big project that you're trying to present looks like, just by piecing some of that technical data with really clear imagery. It's really amazing what you guys and your team is putting together on this side. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So there's actually quite a lot of requirements to when you do reports and whether you do get information for some of our clients, and that technical information is very difficult for a lot of most audience to understand. Yeah. So I think without that additional graphic design and movie presentation, then essentially it's very difficult. Doesn't get used a lot. The technical report is important for the client to meet regulatory requirements, but in order to present it to the market or to the audience who might be shareholders or other investors or even the community, then you really need that additional skill set.
Yeah, and I think that coming back to your experience as well, thinking of the value that you're providing as a business, but the ability for your clients to tap into your experience is very unique, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that it's useful that during my time, not just as a technical geologist, I've spent the time as both on the marketing side and the capital raising side, and then I think I'm using all of those combined skill sets as well as the work that I've done in many environments around the world, whether it be in Australia or working up in the Arctic. Then I can take all of that experience and I understand what the client needs are. I've essentially captured people with experience in each part of that business, and so that we can provide that for clients along the way. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Now, I want to talk about MVP just really, really quickly, but could you share with us what your experience has been like here at MVP?
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell, when we looked at setting up in the Philippines, we certainly needed somewhere to set up a home office. We needed somewhere also to help with the training side of things, and generally just be a functional business in the Philippines. And without the help of MVP, it would have been very difficult. I think that having the whole setup here made life a lot easier for us to bring in our staff, set ourselves up with the office space essentially for our senior staff, as well as the open office network for our junior staff, and the training that we do all here, all in one place. So it's
Yeah,
been
that's
very
great.
convenient.
And now you have your own office space here at MVP, and once again we talk about collaboration a lot, but having that dedicated space here on the floor, how has that kind of helped you, that collaboration piece? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, could you talk through that a little bit?
Sure. It's we have the senior team all together, and that's a useful, just makes it functional for cross communication across for the different skills we need for all our different clients. And then we have the open room space where a lot of the younger geology team, graduate team are all placed. So that's a useful arrangement for us.
Yeah, great.
To essentially, it makes it very functional. We're in the private space. We've still got client meetings and other things like that. But the work, a lot of the bulk of the work will get done in the open office space.
Yeah, we're very proud of our business here at MVP, and one of the things we talk about a lot is the culture that we're building here, and we're continuing to improve. But often people make reference to kind of the vibe here on the floor, and could you kind of talk through what your experience is like when you're walking around in the building here?
Yeah, I think that's also important. I mean, it's been a relief for me to be able to bring people into the MVP group, largely because, again, you're looking after the general needs, and obviously you're fitting in with the culture in the Philippines.
Yeah,
I think within the culture in the Philippines, the workforce generally have. They're used to a certain environment, and I think that that's provided really well for here. Yeah. So there's both the work-life balance aspect of it, some of the social interaction, and but understanding that everyone's working as a business as well. Getting that balance right, but fitting in with the culture, and I think MVP do that very well.
Yeah, and it's something that we're continually focused on as well, and it's a complex thing. People talk about culture a lot, but when you challenge them on, what does that actually mean? And I often, it's something that we talk about a lot as an internal team here at MVP. But for me, that definition really is just creating a team and an environment where people care for each other as much as they do the results. There's a high performance culture here, and we've got really high expectations around output and just what we expect from our teams. But on the other side of that, we're also conscious that we need to provide the right level of support to create that environment as well. And it's something that we're working on all the time. But it's also really important that you've got the right people working on that all the time as well. So I think one of the strengths we have here at MVP is that we've got the right people in the right roles and doing the right stuff. So people really clearly aligned with their skills within their role as well. So we're lucky to have those amazing people in our business. We really are.
Yeah, we certainly draw on some of that as well. So we in order to access even some of our graphic design team or some other administrative team, then we did draw on the MVP team to help bring that skill set into ourselves, and there's always a few surprises along the way. Like there are a few skill sets that we weren't aware of that all of a sudden we could tap into as well to expand our own business. So that's been a useful step along the way.
Fantastic. Steve, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for sharing a bit about your business and your experience here at MVP as well. It's been fabulous from my point of view, and I'm sure the audience at home as well. So thanks again, Steve, for your time. Now, guys, if you are looking for something a little bit different for your business, if you're looking for that MVP to join your team, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you grow your team here in the Philippines.